Making a wooden pencil box for year 7. First you'll need to get yourself a bench hook, tenon saw, a steel ruler, a square, a marking gauge, and sharpen your pencil. You need to mark your stock at 25 centimetres. Then use your square to make sure that line is nice and square across the face, and then do the edge that's nearest to you. Then line that line up with the edge of the bench hook. Just draw your tenon saw back slowly for a couple of cuts. And then it should be able to grip. And use nice long strokes to cut straight down the line. Okay, so that should be 25 centimetres. Check your other piece of stock, and you can see that's slightly over. So mark that line again at 25. Use your square. Remember to mark the edge that's closest to you. Finish that cut off. Remember to leave the line. Should have two pieces that are the same size. Now, each of these pieces needs a rebate joint. So, work out how wide your stock is, and my stock is 14, so I'm going to adjust my marking gauge to 7 millimetres. Okay, so then I just need to mark that down, and just mark this a little bit here. Okay, now the halving joint needs to be the width of your other piece of timber. So make sure that's flush with the edge. Put a little mark in, and then square that off. Now if you need to put your piece of wood in a vise to help steady it, that might hold it in place while you're marking it. You might find that easier. And then go over that marking groove with a grey lead pencil. Okay. You should have a little halving joint there that you need to cut out. All right, always do your cross cut first. So same as before. Remember, we're only going halfway through, so just check it before you go too far. And that's pretty close. Okay, now we get to use the vise. Try and have this as low as possible in the vise. You should be cutting down between the clamps, and that little marking gauge should give you a nice groove for your wood. Now normally I say toe down, but it's okay to do heel down first if you want. Yeah, make sure we cut it nice and straight. Again, have a quick look. That's done. Okay. You then need to do that for the other three ends. So, beautiful. Make sure it's flush. Okay. Go over that with your pencil. And again, you might want to mark down here. So that's what I've got to cut away. So again, cross cut first. Halfway down. All right, put it in your vise. Try and keep it fairly low. And then cut away. Yeah, I'm doing heel down first. Just check to make sure you haven't gone too far and see that's ready. Beautiful. So both pieces should be like that. All right, your next piece, you need your two ends, and we were going to do that at, I think it was 7 centimeters to make the lid 8. So make sure your length is square at the end, because these need to be perfect. you can see that little line there, slightly out of square, and you could fix that up on the linisher. And then we have to mark 7 centimetres. I have 2 of these. And remember to mark the closest edge. Alright, I'm just going to fix that edge up with the linisher. And that should fit into my halving joint really nicely. Okay, so that should fit in like that. All right, all I have to do is put some glue in the shoulder and then get a couple of nails and put that together. So I've got to do the same for the other end. You can use this piece. Just make sure it's flush. Make sure it's square. Remember this end. And then we just cut through. If you leave a line, you've got something to sand off later. So there's our 2 end bits. Okay, I've just got the other 2 halving joints to do at this end. So again, make sure it's flush with the edge. I just use my finger and push it up and down just in case it's a little bit out. And mark. Then square. And get our marking gauge. Okay, go over that with your pencil. Okay. And now we're going to cut that out, cross cut first. End grain. bit too. Just check. Now you've just got one more to do. Okay, get your edge. Make sure it's flush. Little mark. Now square it. Marking gauge. Go over with pencil. This is our last one. All right, cross cut first. Remember, check. Make sure you haven't gone past that marking gauge line. Beautiful. And this is our last bit to cut on the end grain. Okay. That's all done. So that should all fit together really nicely. You might have to give a little bit of a sand on the ends just to get rid of some of those rough bits on the edges. But basically it should go together like this. And if you've got two postage, this will almost hold it together. Now, if you wanted to, you could use these to help when you're constructing your box, when you nail and glue. You just have to make sure all your joints are nice and even. All right, now there's your box. So I've got this piece here for my lid. Okay, see it's bigger than the edge, so I can take that off later. And then I want a smaller bit that I can slip inside there, and that's my pencil box done. All right, well done.